And that's me. That is Bayeux finished with. That's been a great couple of days. Oh gosh, I've done so much while I've been here. Seen so many things. I've done quite a few miles as well up and down the coast, inland and outland, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm definitely coming back to this part of the world, definitely. Right, so the agenda for today is, so the time now is 9:40. I overslept a bit this morning actually. I was hoping to get up about 7 and get sorted, but I actually woke up about 8. So the time I motivated myself out of my sleeping bag, motivated myself over to the shower, had a shower, got back, had my breakfast, cup of tea. It was starting to get a bit late. It was starting to get about 8:30ish, so I swung into action, got my panniers loaded, got everything packed away, and that's it. So I'm heading northeast. I'm heading over towards the Ardennes, which is on the Belgian border, northern France and Belgian border, and I may sleep in the Ardennes forest tonight, or depending what time I get there I may push on to Luxembourg. It depends what the day brings. So first off, I'm heading to a place called Covin, which is just on the border between France and Belgium. And then using iOverlander, I've seen a couple of places where I could pitch my tent in the forest. So fingers crossed. So another thing that I'm doing today is the most direct route for me, which is about probably 5 hours riding, is on the motorways through Paris and up again. But that's mostly toll roads, because the motorways are mostly toll roads in France, and I want to avoid them because where some of them can be as little as 10 cents for 10 kilometers, some of them can be expensive, and as much as a couple of euros per kilometre. So I'm going to avoid all the toll roads, stick to all the A roads and B roads, but that has also increased the length of my journey. So according to this, I'm going to get there at 4:30, and I think probably with a couple of breaks in between it'll be more or less 5:30 by the time I get there. But it doesn't go dark until about 8:30, nearly 9 o'clock, so it's not as if I'm in any rush as well. Also, I absolutely hate riding on motorways because they're just so boring. Also, when you stick to roads like this, the A roads and B roads, you see all the things there is to see. You see lots of nice things and villages, and it's great, and it makes your journey pass a lot quicker. But when you're just riding relentlessly hour after hour on motorways, it's horrible. I absolutely hate it. So I'm heading north now, up to Bayeux, where I will catch the dual carriageway which leads to Caen, and then after Caen I'll be coming off and hitting the A roads and B roads. So now I'm going to make up some miles and I'm going to listen to some music. So I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye. And this is Caen, where I've hit my first bit of traffic, which is the early morning traffic. Well, of course, it's just gone 9 o'clock, so everybody's going to work. But at Caen, there's a big bypass that goes all the way around Caen, right around Caen, which is the same thing in Bayeux as well. There's a big bypass that goes all the way around, which actually makes it easy to circumnavigate around Bayeux or Caen, and just dive in when you need to. But so I've just left the bypass now, and I'm starting to get onto the trunk roads, taking me away from the toll road. I must admit there was a moment of temptation there where I saw the sign for the motorway and Paris, and I thought, should I? I thought, no, I'm going to stick with the original plan. I'm going to stick with all the A roads and B roads. So that's me heading north. And this is a nice small town. This is called Troarn. Villages in France and the little towns, they always have a completely different, they've got their own style, definitely got their own style, the French, and I love it. I love the architecture. Lots of churches around. In Normandy there were some absolute beautiful churches, some really old ones as well. So there we go, that was Troarn, and I'm now back into the countryside. Time now, 9:25, and it's actually 20 degrees. When I left the campsite it was 19 degrees. I'd forgotten about the zips on my suit because I'd opened the vents. And I got a little bit cool quite quickly. I'm just arriving in Amiens. Now, Amiens during the First World War was more or less on the front line for most of it. I'm just heading north now, and the front line was mainly to the north of Amiens and also over to the east, and just a little bit further north you've got the Somme. And Amiens was quite important because in August 1918 it was the last final push, and they called it the Third Battle of Picardy, or the 100-day offensive, and ultimately that's what led to the finish of the First World War, because the casualties were so high. It was a battle of attrition. The Germans lost 45,000 dead, and the Allies lost 46,000 dead, which was 24,000 French and 22,000 British and Australian. And at the end of it, that's when the Germans decided they'd had enough. I think everyone had had enough by the end of it, to be honest. But I mean, nearly 90,000 casualties, nearly 90,000 deaths. It's hard to even think about, isn't it? You just cannot imagine those sort of numbers. But here we are. What I thought I'd do, I thought I'd have a quick break, have a look in Amiens, see what's here. And I'm going to have a little break actually, because my bum has started to go to sleep and I'm a little bit peckish. Now all these buildings would be original, so at least you can get a little bit of a sense to what it used to be like.
And hello the internet, and hello to my subscriber. I'm here in northern France and it's beautiful. I'm at a small town called Guise, which is not far from the Belgian border. And when I left Bayeux, it was a little bit cool, but it was dry and we got going. And then I went through Amiens, and a little bit further on, the heavens opened. And it was torrential, and by the time I stopped to get my waterproofs on, I was soaked. And a little bit further down the road it stopped, and the sun came out again, so I had to stop and take all my waterproofs off. And not long after, the temperature started to rise, and before long it was about 32 degrees, so by the time I got here I was dry again. But my journey from Bayeux to the Ardennes was going to be about 300 miles, maybe a little bit more. But by this afternoon, the heat was starting to get to me. So a little while ago, I stopped, pulled in for a little break, and I was looking on my phone and I saw there was a campsite nearby. So I thought, that'll do for me. And I found this municipal campsite at Guise. It's €10 a night and it is beautiful. It is fantastic. It's really big, it's quiet. The plots that you get are really big. There's a great shower and toilet block. The showers are really hot and it's beautiful. So I'm going to stay here for a few days, explore the local area. A little bit to the northwest of me is Cambrai, which I want to go and visit. And I'm just going to take it easy for a few days and enjoy the sunshine. But today's journey was great and no hassle at all. Some days though, you know, when you start going along, travelling, you know, you've got to do a big jump that day, because sometimes when you start travelling you do big jumps, and what I like to do best really, rather than doing little jumps, I like to do a big jump and stay in one place for a couple of days, and then I can explore the local area. Well, today was one of those big jump days, but some days you get on the road and you start travelling and you don't really feel into it, and I'd broken a USB cable and just lots of little niggly things. And I thought, well, I'm not really into it today. So when I stopped this afternoon and I saw there was a municipal campsite nearby, I thought, that will do for me. So where am I going next? Well, after a few days here, I'm going to head northeast again towards Luxembourg. There's a castle I want to see in Luxembourg. And there's a campsite not far away, so that's where I'm heading for in a couple of days' time. So at the moment, I'm just enjoying the weather. It was about 32 degrees, and the difference with the heat being, I mean, earlier on this year I was in 32 degrees heat, but the heat was a lot drier. In Europe, the heat is a lot more humid, so it tends to take it out of you a little bit more. But the bike is fine, everything else is fine, and I'm just enjoying the sunshine and enjoying France. And just before I got into the village, I stopped at a boulangerie, got some bread, got some milk. The bread is wonderful. So I'll speak to you soon when I get into Luxembourg, and take care and bye bye for now.